Welcome to This Week in Morgan County. I'm your host, Russell Mokhiber. Our guest this week, Ronnie Ward. Ronnie is an ultra marathoner and he lives in nearby Warfordsburg, Pennsylvania. Ronnie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ronnie, you've been running all your life, right?
No, I didn't start till 2004. 2003, I crewed for my brother and a buddy of his.
Wait, what does crew mean? What does crew mean?
Well, I kept them in Gatorade, energy drinks, just stayed ahead, energy bars.
So your brother's running in 2004. How old were you?
2004, I was 57.
57. You weren't a runner before 57. No. And your brother was an ultra marathoner, which meant he was running 50-mile marathons.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, why don't you come help me out?"
Well, I got home one day and a message on the phone. He said, "You're retired now." Said, "You got plenty of time. Don and I is going to Montana to do a 50-mile run. We need you to crew for us." I said, "Man, I don't know what you're even talking about. What I got to do?" So he told me, and that's how I got started. I went out and crewed for him. And then on the way back on the plane, they said, "Well, next year we're going to do a race. Go home and start training." So I started training on Flickerville Mountain.
Where's that? Where's Flickerville?
It's up towards Breezewood.
Okay.
And so I started training, lost 30 pounds, and got.
What were you at? I mean, what was your weight back then?
My weight then was like 205, 200. I got down to like 180. And but anyway.
What was your first race?
My first race was Pikes Peak, Colorado Springs. 14,110 feet on top of it.
How long did that take you?
Like 5 hours and something. I don't know exactly.
All right, and since then, how many races have you done, and how many ultra marathons have you done?
Well, I've done 9 JFK 50s.
All right.
Hopefully this year will be my 10th one.
This will be
November 21st, next month.
How many people your age have run 10 ultra marathons? Do you have any sense?
No, I don't. No.
But it's not that many.
No.
And your brother inspired you to do this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he's the one who got me started.
What is the JFK? Well, tell us about it. How far is it? Where does it go?
It starts in Boonesboro, Maryland.
Okay.
And you got 3 mile right up South Mountain to the South Mountain end. Then you hit the Appalachian Trail for 13 miles.
13 miles in Maryland?
Yeah.
South and north?
Down through the rocks.
South and north?
Towards south.
South.
You get to Weaverton. You go under 340. And then you start up the canal. You got 26 mile on the canal. And then when you get to Dam 4, you got 8 miles from there back into Williamsport, and it finishes at the Williamsport Middle School. It's 50 miles.
And what's your time usually?
Well, 12 hours, 45 minutes is my best. They give you 14 hours. I tell everybody, well, I stay out there and get my money's worth. It cost me $210 to run this thing. So but no, I'm just not fast. I'm good for long distance, but I don't run real fast. But
so you're doing like 4 miles an hour.
Yeah.
4 or 5 miles an hour. What do you like about it? Why do you do it?
Well, like I say, my brother got me started, and after I did the first one, 2 or 3 days afterwards, I couldn't hardly walk, and I said, "Man, I'll never do this thing again." But once it gets in your blood, I mean, a lot of people, there's thousands of people down there cheering you on, and it really inspires you to keep going. I mean, it's a good feeling when you get done.
You showed me an essay that your granddaughter wrote, and she's very proud of you.
Yeah.
And you inspired her to get active. And I find this really fascinating because in the age of the couch potato, guys your age, and you know them. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. You were born and raised where?
Buck Valley, just 10 miles from Woffordburg.
Okay.
But I've been in Woffordburg, like I say, all my life.
What has been your life's work?
Well, I worked at GM, Martinsburg, West Virginia, for 32 years.
And you retired when?
2000. I was 53.
Okay.
But I played baseball and softball all my life. I didn't do any running. My brother run, and Actually, him and I had done more the last 10 years than we'd done our whole entire life, because he was riding motorcycles, and running and going out west doing hikes, and I was playing ball.
The thing that's fascinating about this, because most of the guys, most of your compatriots, for example, the guys who used to work at GM, you're an outlier. There's an obesity crisis, there's a health crisis, and I'm wondering why you think that is. Why are you different that way? Why did you take a different path?
Well, like I say, my brother's one got me started. If it wouldn't been for that, I might have been one of them couch potatoes too.
So he inspired you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And now you're inspiring younger generations.
My daughter, I've had her. She's been running some races with me too. Maddie's mother,
Maddie's mother. So
yeah, she's the one that's going to Shepherd to be an RN.
Because it sort of flips it on the head. It's usually the other way around, where the younger people are more active and that. And it's not just ultra marathons. You also run, how many races do you run a year?
Well, probably 4. We run a couple half marathons, and I just run the Freedom Run down here at Shepherdstown, Harper's Ferry.
And is that a marathon?
It's a full marathon, 26.2.
What is the track of the Freedom Run?
Well, it starts at Harper's Ferry at the Visitor Center, and then you make a loop and down through Harper's Ferry. Then you cross the bridge and go up the canal, and then you go up and go through the Antietam battlefield, and then back into Sharpsburg, and it finishes on the 50-yard line at Shepherd football field. So it's 26.2.
Is that the most gorgeous run you've done, or?
Oh no, the run's out west.
Out west.
Oh yeah.
Which ones have you done out west?
Well, Bighorn Mountain Race.
Where's
Wyoming?
Wyoming, okay.
I just run it in June this year, the 50K, 32 mile. And my brother back in 2005 we went out, and they wanted me to run the 50 mile with them. I said, man, I can't run 50 miles, so I done the 30K. And they done the 50 mile, my brother Randy and Don, the buddy that runs the Badwater race, 135 mile. But yes, and then we do a half a marathon up in Clarion, Pennsylvania. In the spring, it's a Cook Forest race.
What's it called?
Cook Forest Marathon, half marathon. That's where I took my daughter and granddaughter this year, and it was 0 that morning when we started that race. She said, Papi, I don't know. She said, I think this is my first and last. She said, and my brother Randy told her, said, man, it's just not normal to be 0 to run, but we got her through it. So she did it, my daughter both did it.
You, how many miles do you run a week just to practice?
Well, now I'm trying to do 40 mile a week. Get ready for this JFK.
Because when I called you the other day, you had just come back.
Yeah,
and
we just run 16 from Boonesboro to Weaverton, the first 16 of the JFK.
All right, and you look great. You look great, and you look like you're in good health. But you had a health crisis in 2014. Tell us just give us the beginnings of it. What were you feeling in the beginning of 2014?
I was doing a lot of training on Flickerville, and I was getting some change in my pains in my chest, and I'd said something to the wife, and I said, I don't know. So it seemed like after farther I went, the better it got. And then finally she told our daughter, which works for a doctor in McConnellsburg, and said, well, you're going to have to go to the doctor. So I went in and seen Dr. Hahn, and he got me set up for a stress test.
Dr. Matt Hahn in Hancock.
Okay. Yeah. And he got me set up for a stress test. So I went to Hagerstown on a Monday. They done the stress test. Said it just showed one blockage. So I went down I told him, I said, well, I'm leaving for Myrtle Beach Saturday, and next week I'm leaving for Montana to do some hiking. So I went down on Tuesday, and they done the catheterization. They said, you got 4 blockages. So you're not going to Montana or Myrtle Beach. You're going to Johns Hopkins. As we speak, we got an ambulance coming. So that was the 14th of July.
2014.
July the 16th, 14. They done 4 bypasses.
So they took veins out of your leg?
Took veins out of my leg and
then
put them in my chest. And
they opened you up?
Oh, yeah. So, like the next day, man, I was up walking the halls. They said, man, you shouldn't be doing this already. And they said, well, the sooner you get recovered, the sooner you get out of here. So that was, like, say, in July. And I had this 50-mile race coming up in November.
In November.
The JFK 50. I'd done it 8 years in a row, and I was trying to do 10 consecutive. We'll put you in the 500-mile club. So I kept saying, man, I got to get ready for this race. That doctor said, you just run your marathon. You're not running any race in November. That's only 4 months. Said, take you a year to get over this thing for your chest to heal.
This was the doctor, the surgeon?
That did the surgery, yeah.
So he's saying, no way that's going to happen.
No way. So I actually called him because the race director, I tried to get back in the race. The race director, my brother got a hold of him and he sent my money back.
So the doctor says, no, you're not doing it. The race director sends your money back.
Yeah, he sent my money back. I got home, he had a check in the mail. So I called him. I said, Mike, I'm training. I need to do this thing. He said, Ronnie, you ain't getting no number. I said, well, Mike, I'll run without a number. I don't need a number. I said, I'll just run it. It won't count in your book, but it's going to count in mine. But anyway, so finally, I raised enough devil, I guess. Everybody said, well, he's crazy. He's going to do it. So my brother, he was buddies with Mike Spindler, the race director, and Mike said, well, you get consent from his wife and daughter and son and everybody.
They had to sign papers. The whole family had to sign.
No, they didn't have to sign anything, but they said, well, let him do it. So I didn't know it till a couple days before the race. They said, well, you got a race number, so you can run the race. So that tickled me. And my brother stayed with me. It took us 13 hours and 25 minutes. We just took it easy, and we had 14 hours. So he stayed with me, and we got it done.
Remarkable. How did you feel during that race?
Oh, I felt good. Yeah, I felt good.
Did you feel? Did the procedure help you? Did it make you feel better?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it was still sore. My chest was sore, and they kept saying, "Boy, down through them rocks. If you fall on one of them rocks, it's gonna bust it open." And that doctor kept saying, "You can't run in them rocks." Well, I did. So, and my daughter and granddaughter, they crew for me every year, Rhonda and Kennedy. So they was there, and like I say, my brother run. And then I got some other running buddies, Harry Myers and Neil Hospitalhorn from Chambersburg, Cheryl Smith here at Walfordburg, she's a runner. This would be her 10th one, but she's having trouble, so she's not going to run it this year. She's going to wait till, she said she wasn't as crazy as I was. She was going to wait till next year, so she was sure she can.
Are most of your buddies who are your running buddies about your age?
No, they're all younger.
Do you know any, are there any?
Yeah, there's people
in the
my
community?
age. Yeah, still doing. Yeah.
What do you think about this issue, the public health issue, about people being sedentary, not getting up and moving around and so forth?
Well, Dr. Hahn, I run into him one day on the canal a couple years ago.
Is that the first time you met him?
And that's the first time that I'd met him, and I had this JFK 50 shirt on. And he said, man, and I could tell, he thought, well, man, this old man shouldn't be out here running probably, and then I got to talking to him, he told me who he was, and said, it's Dr. Matthew Hahn. He said, I'm on Pennsylvania Avenue. If you ever need anything, stop in and see me. So he was into the health thing, and he said, well, do you have any articles at home showing some of these races and stuff that you've done? He said, I'd like to get some of these people involved that's laying on the couch and, are old and, say, well, this hurts and that hurts. And I said, yeah. So I told him in an article, and he put up in his office. And he's into this physical fitness stuff like you are.
Yeah.
So.
And we met for the first time. I was running with Dr.
on.
Hahn on the C&O Canal, and that's how we met, and that's how this came about. In preparation for this, to try and set up the interview, I called your house and spoke to your wife. And what is your wife's, how does she deal with this?
she just lets me go because she knows I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. But I mean, she's good with it. Yeah, she's good with it.
Is she active the way you are?
No. She's had 2 knee replacements, so no, she's not active. But
let's get a little bit about your life's history. What was the work of your parents? What did they do?
Well, my father worked here at it's U.S. Silica now. It used to be PGS.
Yeah.
And he died from lung cancer. And he was only 58 when he died. And then my mother worked at London Fog in Hancock, a sewing factory. And she died also of cancer, but it wasn't lung cancer, Manitoba or something. And she was 64 when she died. So everybody said, man, you're retiring early, 53 years old. I said, well, life's short. My parents both died young, so I said, I'm going to try and enjoy life a little bit. And then, like I said, my brother got me into this stuff, so I got him to, well, I don't know, not actually blame, but he inspired me, because like I say, he'd been running all his life. He run track in school. I played baseball, but.
When you run your 10th one, the JFK, tell us a little bit about your state of mind when you're running a race. Is it mind over matter? I mean, how do you keep going? How do you keep going?
A lot of it's mental. You got to be mentally ready for them 50 milers. And then my brother my first year I done it, he said, I'm telling you, this is what you got to do. When you start in Boonesboro, you figure 4.5 hours to get to Weaverton. Just run this race in like 3 segments, and it'll make it easier.
You divide it up in your mind.
Divide it up. You're doing 3 races. Get through the roughest, down through the rocks in 4.5 hours.
Is that to the trail?
That's to where the
trail starts.
That's where the trail ends, and then you got the canal, all flat, like the canal where I met you.
Right.
You got 26 mile on the canal, which is the most boring of all of it. I mean, it's just the same thing for 26 mile. And so he said, do that like in your second segment, and allow yourself 6.5 hours to do that. So that gives you 11. And then it gives you 3 hours from Dam 4, which is 8 mile from there back into Williamsport to finish the race. So you just break it down and so that's how I get through it.
And how do you list? You don't take any musical devices?
No.
So you do see people doing that, right?
Oh yeah. There's some people do it, but they don't like you doing it because there's so many people. There's like 1,200 people run this race.
Yeah.
Everybody gets spread out after a while, but they have a 5 o'clock start and they have a 7 o'clock start. Well, naturally I got to start at 5 because I can't get done in 12 hours. The only disadvantage of that, you got to run the first 2 hours with a flashlight down through them rocks and down the Appalachian
Wait, what time
Trail.
does it start?
Starts at 5 in the morning.
Okay, so you wearing a headlamp?
No, I carry a light, just a small. But I don't like the headlamps. But
you've gotten some press attention too. I mean, there's been news reports about your.
Yeah, well, the local paper up in McConnellsburg, Fulton County paper, done a couple things on me. Yeah. Being local, and brother said, yeah, all these years I run, and I'm in state line now, and they don't do any interviews on me. He's always rubbing it in, telling everybody, yeah, they do interviews on him.
Is he a younger brother?
Yeah, he's 62. He's 7 years younger than I am.
All right.
But he's a runner, I'm behind him.
You mean he's faster than you?
Yeah.
How long do you think this is? How long can you keep this up? How many races can you do?
I'm saying this is it. My 10th. This is my last JFK. And my brother, this will be 25 for him. He said this is the last one for him. I mean, them things is tough. And I'll be 69 years old here 10th of January, so, I mean, they've had people, even guys 80 years old to run this thing that finished it, but.
So there's this really sort of like a split in the society. There's an incredible level of people getting outside, doing exercise, being involved, being active, looking great at a decent age, and yet there's there's a whole swath of the rest of the society that's not.
Yeah.
And
most of them's not.
Most of them not. And most of your friends and so forth. So what do your friends who are not, let's say that, okay? What is their response to what you're doing? Are they excited for you? Are they ashamed of themselves not doing something?
Well, I don't know, but I've had some responses from some of the guys that I worked at GM. They said, "Nah, Ronnie Ward, ain't no way he's out running these races." I mean, nobody down there can believe it because I didn't do any running. I mean, I hunted and fished and played softball, but they said, "Well, he ain't no way he's running."
So they think you're saying you're doing it, but you're not actually doing it.
No, they know I'm doing it.
But they're joking with you.
Yeah. But they said it can't be the Ronnie Ward we used to know, but it is. So.
Right. And in terms of your health, what impact do you think this is having on your health?
Oh, it changed my life. I mean, I know I got to start eating a lot healthier. I mean, a lot of times I don't. You know, you still get hungry for this or that, you know, that you're not supposed to eat, but it's tough eating the stuff that they want you to eat. You know?
Did you have a bad diet before you started? You had the traditional junk food?
All fried foods and junk food.
And what is it now?
Well, it's still some of that.
It's still some of that.
Yeah.
You still go out to dinner and have that?
Yeah. But I still can't get into eating salads. Everybody's, you know, but my granddaughter actually fixed me one, you know, and took a picture of me sitting at the table because all my buddies, everybody's going west last year to Montana to do these hikes. And that's when I was in the hospital or got home to recover.
Yeah.
And they sent all the people that went out there a picture of this salad sitting in front of me. And they said, well, they knew I wasn't eating that thing. They would have bet money that I wasn't eating those salads.
Anyway. It's the reason it strikes people as interesting is because you're like my dad. You're like the archetypical middle American guy.
Yeah.
You know, my dad worked in a factory in Niagara Falls and so forth. And so it's not people don't see. You know, it's contradictory in a way. People don't sense it. I mean, for like somebody like myself in my generation that came from that ethic, you know, exercise, good health, vegan, tofu. That's not you.
No.
But you actually plugged in a little bit into that.
Yeah.
And so do you like feel like as a traitor to middle America by doing this or no?
Well, no, I guess not. But, you know, and everybody kept saying, man, there ain't no way Ronnie Ward, he'd been on Flickerville doing all that stuff on Flickerville. All them, that's where I started in 2004. I went up there and like I say, it's a pretty good hill. And I'd go up there for 3 or 4 hours. And people would stop, man, you need a ride, you all right? No, I don't need a ride. I said, I'm up here training. Some Pennsylvania state cops, they'd stop, are you all right? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. And then after a while, my daughter and granddaughter, they said, no, that's a Flickerville nut. He goes up there to train for all this stuff. And it's a good workout. I mean, it's all hills.
Even though you're not going to be running ultra marathons anymore.
Well, I say I'm not, but
I'm
probably not.
But will you?
I might do some half marathons or something. I told them I was done completely, but I'll probably have to do something.
But you're addicted to running.
Yeah.
It's a good addiction, right? Yeah. It's a good addiction.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's to your health, and congratulations. And you are an inspiration to the younger generation, obviously, because as we saw in your granddaughter's what she wrote.
Like I say, my daughter
also.
Now my daughter was going to run the JFK this year. Oh, she says every year, well, Dad, I got to run it 1 year before you finish. I said, well, this is it. Well, she was doing pretty good, and then she's having some trouble now with her neck, and she's going to have some surgery. And so that all went by the wayside. But her and my granddaughter was actually going to do the last 12 miles. They was going to meet me at the 38 special.
And do the 12.
And do the last 12, because everybody said, well, let him run 38 or 40 miles, and then go with him. Said he'd be half wore out by that time. You can keep up with him. But like I say, that all went to the wayside, which is fine. But like I say, they crew for me, and
well, again,
I appreciate what they've done, what my brother's done. You know.
Yeah, and congratulations again. We're running out of time, but I wanted to thank you.
Oh yeah.
And you are an inspiration.
I didn't think I could talk for half.
I did. Well, it was good, and I did 2 miles this morning.
Hey, I haven't done it.
I felt a little weak, but congratulations. We'll see you on the canal.
All right.
All right. Thanks very much for joining us. Until next week, thank you for watching, and we'll see you This Week in Morgan County.